Hi folks, and welcome to #GoRight with Peter Boykin, where we bring you the news with a constitutionalist for liberty perspective. Today we cover 4 major stories, but quickly. Donald Trump's triumph return to X, aka Twitter. Kamala Harris's campaign's deceptive ad practices. Trump's bold pledge to halve energy costs if re-elected, and Kamala Harris. Let's start with Kamala Harris's price control proposal that has sparked bipartisan criticism. In a move that has ignited significant debate, Vice President Kamala Harris has faced bipartisan backlash for her proposal to implement government-mandated price controls on grocery stores. This controversial idea, aimed at addressing the persistent inflationary pressures that have escalated during her tenure, has drawn comparisons to failed economic policies from historically oppressive regimes. Now, she's lacking a policy platform. For weeks, Harris has been under fire for a notable absence of specific policy proposals from her campaign, because it's just word salad. With critics pointing out that her official website is devoid of comprehensive, quote, policy. The latest proposal, revealed during a speech in North Carolina, is one of the most first detailed outlines of her economic agenda. It centers on the unprecedented idea of imposing mandatory price controls on privately owned grocery stores, a concept that has raised alarms across the political spectrum. There's definitely some controversy surrounding price controls, as Harris has accused grocery store owners of, quote, price gouging, vowing to enact the first ever federal ban on price gouging on food. This rhetoric implies that she views certain industry players as bad actors, responsible for inflating prices. However, it's important to recognize that most U.S. grocery stores operate on razor-thin profit margins, typically ranging from 1 to 3%. And the notion of targeting these businesses with federal controls has raised concerns about the broader implications of the economy. Now, we got to grow from listening to history. And we got to take our historical lessons. The idea of government-imposed price controls is not a new concept, and history provides several cautionary tales. During the 1970s, the Soviet Union, yes, this is the reason why I asked, is Kamala Harris a communist, attempted similar measures, as did Venezuela in 2010, in the 2010s. Both nations experienced catastrophic outcomes, including severe food shortages, the collapse of domestic production, and widespread economic decline. And these historical examples highlight the potential risks associated with such policies, serving as a stark reminder of the possible consequences. Now, there's media and there's political backlash. Even traditionally left-leaning media outlets, I guess they've come to their senses a little bit, have criticized Harris's proposal. The Washington Post, often aligned with liberal perspectives, offered a scathing critique of the policy, advising, quote, when your opponent calls you a communist, maybe don't propose price controls. This widespread opposition, even from media sources typically supportive of Harris, underscores the controversial nature of her plan. It's time to go, no. She needs to stop. Listen. Maybe you're not doing it right. Which leads down to the inflation crisis. Since Harris assumed office, grocery prices have surged by 22%, placing an additional burden on American families. In her North Carolina speech, she highlighted that under former President Donald Trump, essential items like ground beef and loaf of bread were nearly 50% cheaper. Good observation. The observation underscores the stark contrast between the economic conditions then and now, emphasizing the inflationary measures that continue to strain household budgets. You recognize that there's an issue, right? Now, she also added additional economic proposals. Harris also proposed a $6,000 tax credit for families during their child's first year and a $25,000 subsidy for first-time homebuyers. I don't know if that's bad or good. That could be a good thing, but economists estimate that these initiatives would carry a substantial cost, potentially exceeding $1.7 trillion, a figure that raises concerns about fiscal responsibility. But I still got to say, anytime we're putting America first, adding more income to people and trying to grow their wealth and grow their stature in America, as long as they're American legal citizens, yeah, it's going to cost money, but it's better than sending it to other countries any day. Now, there's funding concerns and criticism. When pressed on how she intends to fund these expensive proposals, Harris provided a vague and somewhat convoluted response saying, quote, "The return on that investment in terms of what that will do and what it will pay for will be tremendous. I think it's a mistake for any person who talks about public policy to not critically evaluate how you measure the return on investment." Yeah, more word salad. This lack of clarity has only fueled further criticism. Now, Donald Trump had a response. Former President Donald Trump did not hesitate to criticize Harris's proposal, describing it as socialist price controls and warning of the potential consequences. He remarked, "Comrade Kamala announced that she wants to institute social price controls. Never worked before. It will cause rationing, hunger, and skyrocketing prices." Now again, folks, this is an opinion-based analysis. The original article contained opinion-based commentary, particularly in the characterization of Harris's response as a word salad, and the sarcastic remark about her ability to say so little while saying so much. Additionally, the description of her economic proposals as communist style, and the comparisons to failed Soviet and Venezuelan policies are reflective of a subjective perspective. And this is all on Go Right News. There's a couple of articles released on GoRightNews.com. This analysis aims to provide a balanced yet critical examination of Kamala Harris's policy proposals, emphasizing the implications for our constitutional republic and its broader economic landscape. The source of this is the New York Post, also posted on Go Right News. And if you're still with me, Trump's return to X, Harris campaign's deceptive ads, and Trump's pledge to lower energy costs. Donald Trump's return to X, aka Twitter, if you haven't heard, formerly known as Twitter. Sounds like Prince, formerly known as, Former President Donald Trump made a significant comeback on a platform and engaging a live conversation with Elon Musk that basically broke the internet and lasted nearly 2 hours. Despite attempts by left-leaning journalists, the European Union, and hackers to disrupt the event, Trump's return was a resounding success, drawing the attention of millions. It broke the internet. Before the conversation, Trump set the stage with a powerful post asking, "Are you better off now than you were when I was president?" He pointed to the nation's struggling economy, border security, and the overall decline in American life. This critique resonates with many who share his vision on restoring the American dream and highlights key issues that have been a forefront of national discourse. The conversation itself covered a wide range of topics, from illegal immigration to the state of the economy. Despite a distributed denial of service (DDoS) attack aimed at silencing the discussion, Trump and Musk pressed on, demonstrating their resilience. The conversation amassed over 23 million viewers, showing that despite opposition, Trump's influence remains strong. In the days leading up to the interview, the European Union attempted to interfere by threatening Elon Musk with regulatory action if the conversation included content they deemed as potentially harmful, or basically anything that Donald Trump says nowadays. This raises serious concerns about government overreach and the suppression of free speech. Then again, the United States is pretty much the only thing that guarantees free speech, and we have to keep fighting for that. A fundamental right protected by our constitutional republic, maybe not the European Union. It's a chilling reminder of how far some will go to control the narrative and limit voices that challenge the status quo. Now, Fox News host Greg Gutfeld highlighted the significance of the interview, emphasizing the unique intellectual rapport between Trump and Mark. Gutfeld noted, quote, "the most consequential technical genius, perhaps ever, and the most consequential political figure are talking about stuff on equal footing. This collaboration could have far-reaching implications for the future of America." Now let's turn to the Kamala Harris's camp. Harris's team has been caught manipulating news headlines and using them as Google search ads, a tactic that raises serious ethical questions. These ads appear at the top of search results and are designed to look like genuine endorsements from reputable news outlets. However, they are nothing more but fabrications intended to mislead voters. For example, one manipulated headline from The Independent claims, "VP Harris protects democracy. Trump defends January 6 comments." Giving the false impression of news legitimacy, the practice is not only deceptive, but also undermines the trust that voters place in political campaigns and the media. Notably, Donald Trump's campaign is not engaged in similar tactics. The situation highlights a broader issue of bias and selective enforcement by tech platforms like Google. The assertion that, quote, "Google is the same platform that was caught suppressing searches about Donald Trump's attempted assassination just 2 weeks ago," is an opinion-based, reflecting the concerns about the platform's neutrality. But we all know what's going on. Additionally, the claim that, quote, "if the Trump campaign ran similar ads, they would find a problem with them." I totally believe that, but that also represents my opinion and a lot of opinions of others, suggesting a potential double standard on how political content is handled. And I gotta say with that, duh, we're the ones that get canceled. The left can talk about all things all day long. Let's go into it. And we'll get back to it. Somebody's still on the internet, still talking about, "Do you think Donald Trump faked his assassination attempt?" And I'm like, tell that to the people who died. Or better yet, any news agency or any people out there that want to try to raise hell and try to say that the assassination attempt was fake and it was all fake, they should be sought after by the families of the victims and the families there who were hurt. They should go after them legally, just as bad as they went after Alex Jones for questioning Sandy Hook. Honestly. Because the left spreads fake news, but they seem to not get in trouble. Lastly, let's discuss Trump's pledge to lower energy costs by 50% if re-elected. I would hope that could happen. Speaking at a rally in Asheville, North Carolina, Trump committed to slashing energy and electricity prices by at least half within 12 to 18 months of taking office. His strategy focuses on unleashing American energy by removing regulatory barriers that currently restrict oil and natural gas companies. During the current administration, I guess it's drill, baby, drill. During the current administration under President Biden and Vice President Harris, energy costs have soared, with electricity prices up by approximately 30% and gasoline prices rising by about 33%. Kamala Harris, if you wanted to put a limit on price gouging, maybe food and grocery isn't it. Maybe it should be on energy costs. Maybe things like that we know that they are raising the prices on. Trump's promise to reduce these costs is part of a broader populist agenda, the MAGA agenda, aimed at alleviating the financial burden on American families, which is what our government should be doing. Making it easier for us to live, not harder. That's the purpose of a government. Protection. Putting the people first. Making it easier. After all, this is a society better, right? Now in conclusion, while we might speculate the Vice President Harris could adopt similar policies, this remains purely speculative and is not based on concrete evidence. Now, Trump's proposals align with a moderate conservative Republican viewpoint that prioritize energy independence, economic relief, and reduce government overreach. So I'm with him, because I'm a constitutionalist for liberty. Now, in conclusion, these stories highlight the ongoing struggle for control of the national narrative and the critical importance of maintaining our constitutional republic. Whether it's through free speech, ethical campaigning, or policies that benefit everyday Americans, it's clear that the fight for liberty and justice is far from over. I ask you to stay informed and stay vigilant, and it's always #GoRightWithPeter with Peter Boykin. Let's do a quick recap. So we got Kamala Harris trying to put price controls on food, when honestly she should be doing it on things that people really are price gouging, like energy, but changing policy. We have Donald Trump back on Twitter. Kind of makes me wonder what's going on with Truth Social. If you haven't used Truth Social, use it. It's blocked at my workplace. It's blocked at a lot of places, unfortunately. We do know that there's bias in media. And Kamala Harris is using people, telling people lies. I've already heard an article where it says Kamala Harris and Biden had some of the strongest border policies. And I'm like, huh? Really? 10, 15, 20 million illegals through the border within 3-something years? Definitely not preserving our so-called democracy. Definitely not preserving our constitutional republic. And then, ultimately, Donald Trump wants to save us money. He wants to save us money and energy. He wants to make it better for American families. I don't believe that's happened during the Biden administration. I don't think that's happened in Kamala Harris's administration. And I am a moderate Republican. I'm willing to walk across the aisle, get things done for the American citizen, and putting America first, and putting aside Republican Democrat scrabbles, left or right, because extremism is not good on the left and right. And I've told this to you multiple times. It's important that we put America first, and we do that by cooperating with each other and working for the best path and understanding that there's a reason why we have multiple sides. So we don't just have yes men, that we have ideas that are worked through. And part of that process is the compromise, is the negotiation. And when we don't have that breakdown, and we have that breakdown of communication, it's kind of like when you have ambassadors trying to stop a war. Well, we don't have peace. We just have war. And I don't think we need to have this constant Democrat-Republican war. Both of them should be presenting ideas on how to help the American citizen, how to make our society better, how to make our people better, how to put America first. And it's sad that the Democrats have somehow demonized MAGA, which is making America great again. America has been great at times. Right now it's not its greatest. But we need to make America great. We need to keep America great. It's not just a concept for Donald Trump. Ronald Reagan used it. We've had that concept for a while. Even Democrats. Even Bill Clinton used Make America Great Again. He did. Because when the right politicians, right or left, work towards making it better for American citizens and listening to the people, that's the only people that we need to go for. And you need to think about that when you go vote here in November. I know a lot of people say, vote down the ballot. Down the ballot. We gotta win, we gotta win, we gotta win. But really think about the candidate who best fits. Not Democrat, not Republican. Donald Trump definitely fits. I don't know your local elections. Maybe there's some great Republicans. Might be a few great Democrats. We never know. There's some extreme Republicans. There's extreme Democrats. And when you got to think about it, who is going to be able to perform the job at the end of the day? No matter who gets elected. And it's important. And if you can't figure it out, if you really have a hard time who to vote for, if you really just can't vote for the opposite party, you could write yourself in. You could not vote in that particular election. Just leave it up to other people. Or you can find more information. And at the end of the day, it is our jobs as the citizens to press whoever gets in office, Republican or Democrat, to stay on them. And just because you're a Republican or a Democrat doesn't mean you give a pass to the person on your side when they're elected. You keep them on their toes. You make them realize that the government is by the people, for the people. Made of we the people. Please check out more at gorightnews.com. God bless everybody. Peace.